Gore Nature Park up here north of Victoria, British Columbia, just on the eastern side of the peninsula here. Beautiful views of the water down there. Oh, just listen to it. So this is a Garry Oak ecosystem, and what a Garry Oak ecosystem is essentially a very open, sparsely populated forest with very dense brush and ground cover such as shrubs and flowers and wild plants and mostly native species. Lots of berries, which is great. So the Garry Oaks are these twisty trees. You can see this branch sticking out. Perfect, that's why I'm situated here. This gnarly Garry Oak, or Garry gnarly oak. Not sure where the history of that came from. But it's covered in moss and be a lot more lush during the winter, during the rainy season. But you can see it's quite sparsely populated. The trees are quite spaced out. There's not a high density of tree and forest cover, and yeah, mostly dominated by these Oregon oak trees, and hence the Garry Oak. Now it's a very endangered ecosystem. Everywhere you go you see these. There are signs, and many people, thousands, hundreds, thousands of people before me who know much more about them than I do, that have been protecting these. But I believe that there is less than 5% left in Canada. Not surprising when you know about the old growth trees and logging and human nature, and how we just use everything on this planet for our advantage and forget that we're actually part of it and we need to maintain it, otherwise we will all perish. But there is a lot of these have been destroyed, or there have been, you know, mostly these things have been destroyed. So it's hard to even talk to this video. I just literally want to stand in quiet here and just it's a beautiful forest. There's no old growth here. I'm not sure if this area was logged. There is some younger Douglas firs scattered around the Garry Oaks. Not sure if this again was an old growth forest at some point, but yeah, so that's a little bit about Garry Oaks, and I'll show you around a little bit. So here's one of the Garry Oaks. Beautiful. See how it just wraps around, it's like tentacles covered in moss. And again, it's very dry this time of year. It's the summer, Pacific Northwest, but there's still moss covering the trees. But mostly a sparse area dominated by berries, brush, blankets of wild plants, and these giant Garry Oaks. Grow up to 25 meters tall.